Morning. There we go. And so happy Tuesday. It's Tuesday. That's right. Um, so yes, the week is flying by, but there's lots of great things happening. And so I'm excited. Thursday, Friday, our calls. I think Mary Jo's going to host one day, and maybe Devin will host one day. So we are going to get it all figured out unless someone else wants to step up and feels the call. But I thought today we would talk about just the power of making up your mind. And I feel like we should just kind of start with a check-in. And I would love to know where you guys feel like you're at. If you were to give me a word that would describe your current mindset, and you are being honest, has there like, where are you at? Are you in a positive, upbeat space? Are you excited about what's to come? What's been heavy? Like, what's been distracting you lately? Because clearly, you know what's been distracting me. But, what is it that we're trying to decide in our life? And I guess it's just kind of reflecting back over the last couple of months as we made this like massive decision to move our family. We're moving 4.5 hours from where we live. So it's not just a small move down the road within the same town. It's a lot of changes. And I feel like, it was funny. I was listening to something last night and they were talking about that line in the, like drawing a line in the sand. And then I was also thinking about how this week we had our graduation at the school, and we had the kindergartners like cross over the line from going from kindergarten to grade one. And it just got me thinking about this concept of like, deciding where we're going and like fully stepping into it or jumping into it. Oh, Danielle, I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm lifting you up. That is really hard. Well, if we can all just say a prayer for Danielle. She lost her grandfather of 92 to a tragic car accident. That makes your mind in a different place for sure, right? So we will absolutely be praying for you. Um, but if we think about this kind of line in the sand moment, we have several of them through our lifetime, and we can have them whenever we want. It's when we truly decide, everything changes. Once we make a decision and whatever the changes are going to be, requiring of us or required of us, um, that's it. It's that line in the sand moment. It's not about being motivated or having energy or a strategy, but it's really just making a decision. And really, I've said it before, but like we are in the um, business of helping people
People
make
down on the
decisions.
counter.
Oh, sorry, guys.
And
Um, we are in the business of helping people make decisions. So we've got people in the waiting room. Sorry about that. Um, sorry, guys, I didn't mean to leave the waiting room for so long. Um, okay, I appreciate you sharing, Francine. Yeah, it is hard when we're feeling a little lost and overwhelmed, right? Um, and so I think when we decide, you know, um, what is the phrase I'm thinking of? When you know your why, the how figures itself out. It's kind of the same thing, right? When you've made that decision, then the how just starts to figure itself out. And indecision is an energy leak. Think about that. If you have your little bucket of energy and not making a decision is like poking a hole in that, right? And your energy starts to drain when you don't make a decision. You feel stressed out and it's the unknown. We don't know what's going to happen. And so it's funny, not John Maxwell, Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn says that indecision is the thief of opportunity. And I think we hesitate oftentimes in life because we're afraid of choosing the wrong thing, right? Is anyone with me? Like you you hold back and you don't want to make a decision And maybe you're asking your spouse or your partner or a friend or your mom or someone else to help you make the decision because we're afraid of choosing the wrong thing. Or maybe we're just afraid of um, failure or judgment. Maybe we're afraid of just afraid of commitment, right? Lots of people have fear of commitment, thinking, what if I can't follow through if I make this decision? So the reality is that our brains will obsess over incomplete decisions. You can't stop thinking about it if it hasn't been, there's no closure to it, right? There's no decision been made. And so it's exhausting when we retain and just obsess over these incomplete decisions. And when our actions, when we say that we want something or when we say that we believe something and then our actions don't line up with that, we have this sense of discomfort. Yeah, Louis, go ahead.
Hi, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Um, what was the quote again from Jim Rohn? Indecision?
Oh, indecision is the thief of opportunity, he says.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And second question,
Yeah.
what was the reason that we brush our teeth with the other hand? I
It
did it today and
actually
I was like, what is I supposed to get out of that?
That's so good. I'm so glad you did. It's an exercise that because it's such an ingrained in us habit when we go to brush our teeth, it's something that we do without thinking. And so when we switch to the other hand, it's it's putting it's stretching your brain in a new way. And so it is a way to create a new thought pattern. And it's like a learning, it's like you open up this little window of learning. And so the things that you speak to yourself when you're doing something new like that, it's just really powerful. And so it was a suggestion, and I can't even remember who it was now.
Yeah.
Um, but just talking about the way that your brain processes that if you start like speaking affirmations about yourself or saying positive statements essentially about your day, as you brush your teeth with the opposite hand, it is going to shift the brain connections that you're making and the way that you start to think about how you're going to go through your day. So
Decisions. Yes.
um, yeah. I'm
Thank you
glad
so
you're
much.
trying it out. It is definitely like I'm like, man, I don't realize how much we get into the habit of doing things with, just on routine. And so whenever we can break the routine, we like open up this window for new possibilities. So I'm excited for whatever you decide to speak to yourself in that time, in the new thought process. But um, making decisions really it can be a challenging thing for some people. Like, drop me a one in the chat if you would say that you feel like you're a decisive person, and drop me a two if you feel like you have a hard time making decisions, right? Because there's some people that are very confident and feel like, I know what I want, I know what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get out there and I'm right. I love it. Sharon's a decisive person. She doesn't wait on other people's opinions as much, but the majority of us tend to be a two, right? And we struggle with making decisions because it's, all of the weight that hangs on the decisions that we make is kind of crazy. So our brain, once we decide about something, once we make that decision, our brain starts to filter in like resources and ideas and people that align with helping us get to that goal. Yeah, Sharon, go ahead.
The only reason I put one is because it's something I keep telling myself. So I'm not going to tell
I love
myself that I'm indecisive. I just thought, you know what? I'm just going to go for it. So believe me, I'm like all of you. I struggle with that. It's not like I'm going like, oh, I'm the one. It's not that at all. I'm just trying to tell myself, like, don't think about what other people are thinking and just do it. And that was just part of my training, my brain. So thanks
Okay,
for
no. I love and what a perfect example, right? That is what we have to do. We have to start speaking life over the fact that we're not indecisive. We have to tell ourselves that we can make decisions and we can make decisions quickly, and the decisions we make are going to be good decisions. Yeah, Louis, go ahead.
Yeah. On that same note, Sharon, uh, ADHD brain thinkers are, have something, I'm going to put it over here. No, put it away. Rather than putting it down, put it away.
Yeah.
It, it's the whole thing of that indecision. Oh, I'll get to it later. I never do that. You should see my office. Anyways, I'm working on it. Definitely working on it.
Yeah, it is definitely a challenge, right? And it's it is, and this is why it's so important for us to talk about it because we're here creating new habits and helping our brain have a different way to think about something so that when we approach that kind of a situation, we're gonna know how to handle it. And we're gonna delay less, right? Let's at least make that our goal, even if we all have the moment of indecision and delay let's not delay as long, right? Yeah, Mary Jo.
Get off mute. Okay, I didn't know how to get off mute on my phone.
No
Never on
worries.
here. You just made me really realize something. I am like super, super spontaneous. Like my decision to join Melaleuca was like a 2-second decision. My decision to get into laser, like I own laser machines that I can do woodwork and jewelry and like the decisions are always super fast. Like I'm super spontaneous, but maybe we could figure this part out. All of those things come with multiple things that come after them. After you make that first decision,
Mhm.
it spreads off to I need a website, I need somewhere to sell these products, I need somewhere to do this, I need to do my critical activities, I need to follow through with my customers, I need all those little things are where then I get frozen. Like the initial decision is always super easy, but that's because I don't really think them through
Yeah.
to what else does this pertain to? Like, what is this going to be? So then I have like 10 things on my plate, none of which are finished, all of which are great ideas, but you can't do all of them
Yeah.
at once. So there's something else to
Yeah, it's true. We have to make the decision, then we have to choose to follow through. So that's where when it comes to making the decision, we have to have a level of confidence of knowing this is what we're supposed to do right now. There is a purpose in this. We need to complete this so that we can get to that end result, right? And I love like that you brought that up, Mary Jo, because when you think about when you fully decided to, like for us, when we fully decided to move, when I decided to make a shift in my career and join Melaleuca. When you decided to join Melaleuca, what did that look like for you? Before the decision, it was probably a little bit chaotic, right? You were trying to analyze all the details, you were thinking about all the angles, trying to make that decision, and it just was a little bit overwhelming. There was so many things to consider. But once you did it, it's done, right? And now it's how are you going to move forward from there? Even if it was scary, you have peace in the moment that you make the decision, right? You had direction in order to choose that. So I think many of us, like on this call, I would say most of us are the busy people that get things done. We tend to overload our plates. We take on, we're yes people. We take on more because we're ambitious and we should be proud of that, right? So look at it as a good thing that you like to take things on, but we also have to learn to prioritize. And how do we choose what decision takes the top priority and is going to have the biggest impact on our life moving forward? Right? Many of us go through these different situations where we have to make these powerful decisions and they kind of change the trajectory of your life, right? If you think about when you chose your spouse, you were making a decision for the trajectory of your life. When you decided if you were going to go back to school, maybe that changed the trajectory of your life. When you decided to pursue one thing. And again, life is about the journey. And so think about maybe there's people on this call who made a decision to pursue one thing in school, got partway down that path and said, this is not the path for me, and changed and took something else. Or someone who started down the path and then they took another degree and kept learning more and taking new courses and continuing to travel down that pathway, right? But it starts with that first decision that puts us on the path. So, is there a time in your life that you can think about when you made a powerful decision and it kind of changed everything? Some people get married and they move countries or they move provinces or states or whatever, right? That obviously is going to change your life. Some people take a certain type of a job or career that is going to change your life and put you in a different environment that it would have if you chose something else. So, we've been talking about the Atomic Habits book, right? I know some of you guys have read it as well. There was a group of us that did it as a book club. And, when he says we don't rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems, you know, what are we doing that's the system for the follow through once we make the decision? Most people are actually waiting to feel motivated. And if you acknowledge it, you've probably been in that place that you decide that you want to work this business and then you wait to be motivated to actually put things, into motion. And you need a decision that is attached to your identity, right? Who are you and why does this decision line up with who you want to be and where you want to go? Who are you deciding to be today? Right? We have to make that decision just to have the confidence in ourselves even, right? Of saying, I am a bold leader and I go first. Like if you want to be a trailblazer, you've got to make that decision. Yeah, Sharon, go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to butt in or anything, but one of the big decisions that, I personally have made is just really clarity, just that one word, clarity. And when I go in with whether it's an approach or I'm going into a conversation, is honestly just the last thing, just keeping it really short and sweet, but asking that question. That was always harder for me. I got to be honest with you because I'm talkative. So I try to make it, whether it's a text or a conversation, you just kind of go and go and go, and then you're not clear on what was the intent of that call. And when you do that, I think that's just one little thing that you can add to your system, because the system doesn't have to be, it's not going to be perfect at the beginning. You're going to tweak it as time goes on. I think we wait for the perfect system. We look
Mhm.
and think, when I get this, or when I figure out how this person's doing this, or I use this system, when in reality, most people don't have any system or very little. Just get something and like build, on
Yeah.
that. But that question at the very end, it's so pointed that it literally commands a response and it gives you the clarity of where to go from there. What part of your system to use. What was something after you?
Yes.
I thought something was getting you there,
No,
Barb.
I'm
But yeah,
sorry.
I
I've
just
got
wanted
I've got
to.
mosquitoes in here in my office and they're
Oh,
driving me nuts. I got them. Got
so,
them. The bugs have been so bad here. Anyways, no,
um,
I think that's so true. And I think, we stall ourselves out waiting sometimes to feel like we have the perfect system, when really we have to create the system often as we just move our way through it. And I love that you said, you just have to have a little bit, like you don't have to ha know it all. And it's the same as you are an expert if you're 10% ahead. Don't forget that. You don't have to have arrived or know it all in order to be an expert and to move forward towards the decisions that you're making, or through the decisions. Because once you make the decision, then you got to move through it. So,
And just having those things at your fingertips, like once you get that little system together, when you can shoot something back really, really quick, whether it's to a prospective shopper, to a prospective builder, it builds a confidence that she's on
yeah,
it. It's not like you just wait like days and you think, what can I say to them? What should I send them? No, it's got to be immediate. It might not be perfect, but they're going to be like, whoa, because they probably would not have done that. And then they want to be like you. That's like
yeah,
really, it's showing your leadership skill.
yeah, it's true. And I think that's one of the beautiful things of like, apps and whatnot that we have like boards, right? It's like once you figure out your system, put it down, document it. Put it, whether it's your notes in your phone or your um oh my goodness, your text replacements, or your boards or whatever, right? It's like once you figure it out, create a system that's going to allow you to save time and it's so true because you feel confident when you know you've already got the answer to something. you feel a whole lot more confident to handle it and to come back with a response instead of letting things shut you down, right? When somebody has an objection and you know what you need to come back to them with, or you have an idea and a place to start, it gives you that confidence of like, oh, this isn't going to take me out, that I'm getting this response. I know how to combat it. I know how to come back. This is part of my system. I'm expecting these roadblocks. I'm expecting these objections, right? That's how we have to look at it. So,
And you don't spend more time looking for it than it takes to send it. That's the problem. That's where the system falls, is that we can't find what we're looking for. So we delay, and it gets frustrating. And then it seems like we spend more time on this business than we're getting out of it. It's because those are the unproductive things, not being organized with those. And it's not a lot. Like it's pretty basic. People have the same objections here. You
yes,
can probably list 5 of them. That's it.
yeah,
Once you master that, it's,
yes. It's so true. And like the more that we practice things, the more we can refine our verbiage so that we get more clear with the way we communicate with people, with the information we realize they need to have and we send to them. So I love that. Tasia's saying clear questions. Um, yeah, so we wanna just ask ourselves the questions and try to figure it out, right? Oh, I love this. Yeah, Mary Jo's saying clear questions based on colors. To the red personality, we can say, which option helps you reach your goal of blank faster? To the blue personality, which one sounds more fun to you? To the yellow personality, which option feels better to you? To the green personality, which one makes more sense to you? I love those are great. Absolutely. And again, it's
I
we
didn't
learn,
write them.
pardon me?
I just, I said, just so everybody knows, I did not write those, but they really hit me today. So I copied them. And then when she said that about a clear question, I was like, I'm pasting those here for everybody.
No, I love it. I love it. You're looping it all together for us here because it's true, right? When we figure out how to communicate best and we've already made the decision to move forward, it starts to come together. So I think the shift happens after the decision, right? When we stop negotiating with our goals, when we are really clear on our goals, our energy rises, right? And we want to be in that high energy state. We want to stay there because it feels good, right? I think all of us would agree. We don't want to waste time with questioning and we want to have more time executing, like following through and making things happen. So think about people that you know in business, right? There are people that I know who have just made that decision. They say, I'm not here to like dip my toe in the water. I'm here to go all in. I'm not available to play small. Like, I got to make a daily non-negotiable list. I'm going to write down the things that I'm going to do and watch my business change. Right. And if you did that, if you make the list and you say, I'm going to do 5 reach outs, I'm going to do 3 follow-ups, I'm going to post in my story once a day within 60, 90 days, you're probably going to have a status advancement, right? But it's the fact that we tell ourselves that it's not that important and then we don't follow through consistently and then we question why it didn't work for us, right? But it's because the decision wasn't fully followed through with. We have to go all in. Our goals have to be non-negotiable, right? It's a goal without a plan is just a wish. So we have to have the plan so that we actually complete the goal. So if you made a I decide list, right? What are the things that you would say if I said to you, I decide to show up even when blank?
I don't feel like it.
Even when I don't feel like it. That's a good one. Come on, keep them coming. I decide to show up even when, what is it? Because when you start to think about this answer to yourself, you're realizing what holds you back. I decide to show up even when my kids are sick. I decide to show up even when I am tired, even when I don't feel like it, right? Like, what are the issues that hold you back, even when I'm scared, even when it's hard? Yeah. Even when it feels like it's too hard to do daily, even when I am busy, even when you're moving. Yes, Tasia. I know. I said to my husband, I was like, oh, part of me, I'm like, I should I have canceled mindset? He's like, no, no, you can't cancel mindset. It changes your day. I'm like, I know. Um, yes, when I'm getting turned down, yes, even when we get rejected, how are we going to rise back up? Even when I'm busy and scared, even when I'm discouraged. That's it. It's continuing to take those steps forward through the muck, through the moments when we feel like we're kind of stuck. And so, you know, again, I think it's so important that we just make the decision and we go all in, right? When we're halfway, when we're 1 foot on each side, we're not moving forward in the right way. And when we're making a backup plan, right? Is anybody else making a backup plan? I'd love Melaleuca to be my full-time income, but I'm gonna make this backup plan. I'm gonna like have a safety net in place. Yeah, Louie, go ahead.
Yeah, with respect to that, always reminded of an analogy of if you're hanging on to a, something stable,
Yeah,
but you want to go somewhere else, you have to reach over to the next thing. But you know what you have to do? You have to let go of this one. That's
very,
the
very true.
that's the scary one. I get tingles on that one.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's true. And I love the way that I love to think about it is like sometimes we clutch on so tightly to the things that we think we need in our life or we use as our crutches essentially. And when I thought of the perspective of like God is waiting to give us good things. And if our hands aren't open to receive new blessings, we can. And we're choosing to clutch and hold on to this thing over here that's not even good for us, but it's familiar. When if we just would let go of those things, maybe it's habits, maybe it's people, maybe it's situations, right? But if we would let go of that, we can be open for what's next for us. We can be open for the system, the thought process, the activity, the decision that's going to take us to a different place. Absolutely. Sharon's like, we need to swing like a monkey, right? Like you go across the monkey bars and you got to let go of one in order to get to the next, right? And it's
When
like,
you watch them at the zoo, they're having so much fun. They're just like, do you watch the monkeys? They don't think. They just go. They know they want to get all the way over there and they just go. And it just looks so joyful and they
yeah,
don't think about it. They
that's
just
it.
grab and go, you
Figure
know?
it out on the way down. So true.
Hmm.
No, and so again, for me, it's like tying it in on a faith perspective and just thinking about the fact that it's funny, we walked through this process and I don't know if I've shared all the details, but anyways, like when we decided to move, it's just been crazy like how it all came up. And it was 100 days from when we bought the house to when we actually knew that we got the house. And it was 100 days of waiting and like feeling like we're stalled out and not sure what we were gonna do and waiting for a sign of what was supposed to happen, and just praying that like we were doing what God wanted for us. And at one point in time, we were making a contingency plan. We were making a backup plan, right? If our house doesn't sell, then blah, 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 right? And I just share this so that hopefully it applies to some situation in your life, even though you're all not moving. But we had to have this conversation and the Bible says that a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Okay. This is what was like, it was like a slap in the face to me. And I was like, oh, I feel like we're being double-minded because we're making a backup plan. We feel like this is what we're supposed to do, but we're making a backup plan. And I don't want to be double-minded. And I hope you don't want to be double-minded. In when you say you want this from your business, then where's the action to match up with it? Do you want to be seen as unstable? Like, I say that in a loving way, but like truly, if we're saying we want something and we're not following through with it, we appear unstable. And then we wonder why people don't join us because they're watching us and seeing that we're not fully committed and we're not all in. There comes a point in time when you have to choose. Choose this day who you will serve. Like, what is your goal? What are you going after? Who are you serving? How are you serving? And and go after it. I say it in a loving way, right? I'm from Mary Jo says I'm already seen as unstable. I think that God even honors our decisiveness, right? When we choose to let things go, and that for me was like when I let go of my past business, that was a really hard decision for me. And I had to let go of that for God to give me what I found with Melaleuca. And I hung on for far too long where I was because I was loyal, because it was my identity, because it was all these other things, right? And meanwhile, God had this blessing waiting for me, something that was a better fit for where I was at in my life, a better pathway to reach the goals that I had for my life. And I was not even open to the idea of anything else. So we have to sometimes let go of things and make a decision to move forward. And I really believe that God blesses that when we make a decision and we just say, okay, God, like I'm all in, I'm going to do this. I know, I feel like you're calling me to it, so I'm going to trust that you're going to guide me through it. So confusion is a difficult thing. And many of us would say that we're confused in the process of making a decision, and we blame that as an excuse to just not make the decision and to not move forward. We have to move. We have to, right? Our brain wants to keep us safe. Safe doesn't allow us to grow. So think about the fact that every big thing that's ever happened in history, ever, it all started with movement. It started with someone making a decision. Okay. So, what decisions do you need to make in your life right now? Or what decisions have you been putting off because of fear and uncertainty and just not knowing where you were going, right? What are the action things that we can do today that are going to impact our goals for the month even, right? Did you set a goal of earning some beef or earning some free product? Did you set a goal of helping someone else? Because listen, let me just say that this needs to be way more about other people than about us. We have to, Francine says, the squirrel that can't choose a side gets flattened. Yeah, right? Like, you picture that squirrel on the road, like, oh, which way do I go? And if we make the wrong decision, or if we delay in the decision, right? He could have maybe made the wrong decision and still made it back to the other side of the road. But it's that lack of making a decision that stalls us out, that puts us in a place where, yeah, we can get flattened. So when we're making up our mind, a made up mind doesn't wait to feel ready. Okay. We have to teach ourselves to create readiness through activity. We have to just start taking the steps forward and know that we're going to get ready in the process, right? You get ready on the way down, jump and get ready on the way down, right? So, how can we go about this? What are the things that we can do today? Who are the people we can reach out to today, right? How can you share your story to really be open and honest and truthful and vulnerable and invite other people to make a decision as well, to invite them to be inspired by watching you make a decision and go all in. I mean, what would it look like if you went all in for the next 72 hours? Like, just even if you just gave yourself that short of a window, what would it look like if you went all in for the next 72 hours? There's no stupid questions, Ian. I love what you said about not being double-minded. Any mindset framework that you um, might have if we still need, like my case, the contract that I want to release. Isabel suggested that I get mad. Yeah, we have to like get a little bit mad at ourselves and decide that we're just doing it, right? And having that, so I'm thinking like when it comes to a framework, for me, honestly, like prayer is a huge piece of it. Like I don't have the peace in myself. I am too indecisive. And I'll tell you guys, I don't know if I've told you this story, but when it came to me joining Melaleuca, I had made the decision, but I didn't know where. I didn't know what, I didn't know who, I didn't know enough about it to know what was best for me. I knew that this is where I was called to come to, but I knew a lot of people here. I had a lot of friends here. And I mean, it's not like people are walking around plastering it all over their social media, whether they've been successful or not. But I knew I needed someone that was committed and all in. And so when I was waiting to decide where I was going to join, okay, this was my decision. I made the decision in my own mind that I was going to come to Melaleuca, but I didn't know where I was supposed to join. And so I prayed about it. And that was where I really feel like God led me and told me to go and join Chelsea. And it ended up being the perfect place for me with the leadership, with the team, just and everything that I was needing and that my future team was needing. That was where I was meant to be. And so sometimes there's a little bit of blind trust of saying, okay, I'm waiting. I need confirmation. I need a sign. I need, you know, I'm ready to move forward, but how do I move forward? And that's the whole like the light to our path and the lamp to our feet. Sometimes we can only just see the next step in front of us. And sometimes we question if we're seeing it the right way. And so for me, prayer is a huge piece of it. And feeling a sense of peace tells me that I'm on the right path. Yeah, Shauna, go ahead.
So just thinking about like the double-minded thing, I'm definitely not a plan B. I just plan A and just go for it. And it doesn't work out. I'm just like, oh, just it doesn't work out, but something else will come up. And I have this friend who is actually very faith-based, and she was dealing with her son, who was like in active addiction. And then he like went to rehab, and he he was doing good. He was doing like sober living, and like we would talk, and she would say, it's just always really important to have a plan B. And I was like, she just was super like organized. I'm more like fly by the seat of my pants. And I was just like, okay, if that works for you. And she said, well, it does, thank God. And I'm just like, go a little bit, go with your gut. And she's like, I pray to God that, the right thing is going to work out, and good thing I come up with a plan B, because, when the, what hits the fan, like my plan B always comes into play. And I was like, but do you ever think that it's because like you're just not trusting in plan A? And she's like, no, no, no. I'm like, okay. But I'm not kidding you. At least 4 times, these intricate plan Bs that she has come up with is like, and it's not good stuff, is what is happening. And I'm like, can you just trust that like when you come up with your plan A, like put more faith in that than knowing good thing you always have a plan B.
Yeah.
And it's a sticking point. We will not agree on this. And I'm like, I mean, for the most part, like my plan A's work. And when they don't, I think of it just as like, well, I'll just pivot. But I don't need to have this intricate plan B that I'm putting so much more effort into that then plan A is like getting derailed. It just made me think of it when it's just true. I think, I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's like oftentimes we're trying to create the backup plan, like our escape route. Yeah, Mary, go ahead.
I have to go into my physical therapy, but she just made me think of that. And I just wanted to say that if you're a believer, and I struggle with this too, which is why I'm saying it also as a reminder to myself. If you're praying for something and you're setting up a plan B, that's like a slap in God's face to me. I will tell you that before I left my ex-husband, my whole church was praying for my husband. And I went to my pastor at the time and I was talking to him about a problem. And he said to me, Mary Jo, he's never going to change. Get out. And I was like, what? He was like, he's never going to change. You need to get out. And I said, so why do we have the whole congregation praying for him if we don't even believe that he's going to change? I was like, I feel like that's blasphemy. Like, what are we even doing? You know what I mean? Like, what? So I just wanted to throw that out there because it just hit me like really, really bad right there. If you're trusting God and you're praying to him and you're feeling like that's where he's leading you and you're setting up a plan B, I don't think that's really believing in what he's doing for you. I'm believing that he's going to make it happen. So
Yeah.
that was mostly to me too. I need to be a little firmer, and it's like you need to believe what you ask for. You
Yeah.
need to stand in Jesus' power and claim it.
Hmm.
So I need to go into physical therapy. Love you guys. See you tomorrow.
Love you. See you tomorrow. Yeah, I think that it's so true, right? It's like we have to, and sometimes being obedient to follow through when you feel called to something is not easy, right? And we don't understand it. And we start to decide, we look at it from our human perspective of like, does this really make sense for me? So, yes, in different areas of your life, you might feel inclined one way or another, but sometimes we have to make a trust fall. And, and we have to make up our mind to just make the trust fall. Even if we don't know what it's all going to look like, we have to make up our mind that we're trusting the call that we heard, the nudge that we felt, the thought that we had, and we're making a decision and we're going all in. So I hope that you guys are ready to make a decision in your life, in your business about how you want to move forward. And even if it doesn't make sense, make the plan and just start taking the steps. Look at each step in front of you. You don't need more time to make the decision because we'll often put it off and put it off and put it off and put it off, right? We need more clarity. The power is in our decisions. The power is in us saying, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not circling around the mountain. I'm just going to decide and I'm going to, like I think that's a good analogy. Okay. This is a visual that I'm seeing is like there's this mountain and we need to get to the top of it. That is where our goals are. And we're walking around the mountain looking for the best path to the top. And at the end of the day, we need to just stop circling the mountain and start working our way up it, right? Start taking the steps forward. So, does anybody else have thoughts that are coming to you about this, or maybe reflections on a moment in time when you made a decision and how that has impacted? But I think about 4 years ago when we were moving to this house, that was one of the biggest trust falls of my life, right? It didn't look like what I thought it was going to look like. I didn't know in my own human mind, I was saying, this is stupid. It doesn't make sense for us to move out here. We don't know anybody out there. We've never been out there. Why would we move there? Right? But there was a piece that pulled us through it all. And we knew that if we left, um, what is it? Those that leave things in God's hands will see God's hands in everything. Something to that effect, right? It's like sometimes we just have to trust and we just have to step forward. So I hope that you're ready to do that today. And let's go and be bold about what we're doing and go all in on it and stop circling the mountain and looking for the best route. And let's just jump in and start taking the action. So follow up. My warm market is cold, and I keep thinking I can't find the right people to reach out to online. So, Maureen, I feel like you're someone who must love the connection, right? Even how you are a wellness coach, right? It's like the way that you are presenting yourself is that you're a coach. You're there for people. I would imagine you're very yellow. So, what's the way that you feel most genuine and authentic to connect with people? Have you tried maybe joining a, a women's group at your church or maybe joining a business networking group in your area? I feel like there's all these little untapped potential possibilities, right? And I feel like when we are willing to go back to kind of the roots of networking, in this fast-moving social media world, I think we wait for people to come to us too often. And if you have a big heart, um, and you want people to connect with you, you got to get out there with them in person. Okay. I don't know who all was on here when we talked about which eye you look into, right? But how can you look someone in the eye when you're not with them in person? It's a little bit more difficult. Yeah, Facebook has a group for everything under the sun. It's true. You can find groups of people that have something in common with you. That is, if you're gonna connect online, that would be the best way to do it. But don't feel like you have to build this business online because you see other people build it online. I will say that I believe that if we would go back to the core and the roots of connection and getting with people, get in the same room as other people, let them feel your energy and your love and your excitement and the support that they're going to have from you as their wellness coach, you know? So maybe think about hosting an in-home. And if it's the people in your warm market have not been responsive, I would go and I would look for reasons to meet new people in your area and invite them. Maybe do the scary thing and make a flyer. Like this sounds so old school, but how would you feel if your neighbor showed up at your front door with an invitation to ask you to come out for a social night, right? To come meet some new neighbors and get together, right? People, yeah, people love volunteers. That's a great point, Sharon, right? Where can you get involved? Can you get involved in your church? Can you get involved in contact your local school and ask, do they need help with their library program? Or can you come in and help with a parent fundraiser, something where you're going to get in front of other people. So I love to see Trinity's having her first in home tomorrow. Are you, girl, is that a nervous face? I hope that is not a nervous face. That should be like pure excitement. Okay? You can do this. It's going to be amazing. People are going to love it. I can feel your energy through your screen. I've really appreciated you having your camera on. And you know what? When you get people in your space, I bet they're going to feel that transfer of excitement and belief and confidence from you. And honestly, it just keep it simple. Like, I think we build things up so much in our own minds and we put, so much pressure on ourselves when really it can just be so simple and fun. And oftentimes that's the most effective way, right? We feel like we have to do it all. We have to do the presentation, like play the 12-minute video. Like it freaking works, play the 12-minute video. Don't feel like you have to stumble over your words and you're breathless and nervous and, it's like it just takes all the pressure off. You're like, "Hey, I'm so glad that you could come and check out this place. I'm excited to tell you more. Here's a bit of my story. Now, I'm going to play a video that's going to tell you more about the store and all the perks of shopping here. And if you want some free products, I'll hook you up." And just like keep it simple, keep it fun. Yeah, Sharon, go ahead.
I was going to say too, in the communities, there's a lot of groups that are looking like MOPS groups or
Mhm.
women's groups that
Yeah.
like to have a guest speaker. And not that you have to go in there and talk about Luca, but you pick a certain thing about wellness. Maybe if you could, are you looking to sleep better, have more energy, things of that nature, and you become the expert on that. And that's a really great way to meet people because everybody has something that the health is it. I mean, it's the big thing. So look where you might be able to, be a presenter.
Yeah.
So, I should say I had to come on here.
Good to see
I'm in
you.
a different place right now. I'm in like my sister's house um and the hours are different and all of that. So I was laying beside my husband. So I thought, okay, well, let me get up and get out here so I can talk to you guys.
Yes, yes.
So yeah, I'm a member of my women's group at church. And they all watch me online actually, and they always are commenting about things that I post and how they're doing squats with me every day, and I've motivated them to do, make different life changes and things like that. And it's like, yes, I've reached out to like several of them and invited several of them to check out Melaleuca and how it can benefit them and their families and everything. It's just, I guess it's slow going. There's here and there pockets of people that will, you know, go ahead and enroll with me, but it's not like, I guess I'm suffering from comparitis because there's people in my team on my team who they're enrolling like 6 people here. They got their beef pack packs. And for me it's like I reached out to, and there's people I reach out to from my son's school who finally, one lady, she agreed to take a look at it and she did enroll. So she's my one for the month so far.
Okay.
But I feel like I should have so many more for the month already, that kind of thing. And I'm building those relationships, and I've seen people where they come around after many exposures to Melaleuca, or just sharing with them and over time, and they've seen the overview, and I've talked to them about it, or I've shared different things with them, and then 8 months later they're enrolling, that kind of thing. So the seeds are being planted. um I guess I want results faster is
Yeah.
what's happening with me right now. Like, I want to build my business, and because it's not happening fast enough. I'm a nurse, so
Yeah.
there's my yellow, you know. And so I am a nurse coach, and that business didn't really take off as much, but I'm using like R3 as a platform where I share R3 with people. And I do have kind of a Zoom group I'm trying to get established in things, and using my nurse coaching that way. So I'm not charging anyone for my nurse coaching. It's free, but as long as they are participating in R3,
Okay.
that kind of thing. So I have that platform as well. And you're right. I have thought about the flyers in my community to invite people over and to learn more about R3,
Yeah.
basically. And I haven't done it yet, but it's in here. I just have to get it out now.
Yeah.
And this is so timely because the Lord has put on my heart to. I'm living in Texas, and
Okay.
it's stifling for us. We don't go outside a whole lot because of the temperature is so high all the time. And I grew up in Alberta.
Okay.
So for me, that's a drastic difference.
Yeah.
And I need to get outside again. And so visiting with my sister right now in Spruce Grove.
Okay.
And so um, just having my son, he's autistic, and he uses the excuse of he's allergic to everything outside, not to go play outside. And just every day here, he's outside all day, every day. And so I'm like, I've got to figure out a way to be able to pick up everything and move, not necessarily back to Canada, but to a cooler climate. So we're looking at Colorado, and I'm like, well, how can we do it? I'm not making enough for Melaleuca, but I need to get to a place where we can be outside all the time more. And so, yes, plan B, I'm looking for a nursing job. And I'm like, I can't go back to the hospital,
Yeah.
I cannot. And so, um, it's hard because I really, I desperately want Melaleuca to work for us, to make that income, to be able to move closer to Canada, where it's cooler and stuff. But it's really convicted me today.
Well, I am glad
Um,
that it has spoken to you a little bit, but
yeah.
I would challenge you and say, have you been vulnerable with the people in your life? Because if you feel like people aren't really responding to you the way that you're hoping for, are you allowing yourself to really be vulnerable with them? Because I think anyone who knows you would know your heart for your son and would understand the situation that you're talking about. And if you said, I'm looking to like open new doors of possibility in my life, and this is my career, this is my income vehicle, and I don't want you to miss out on it. Would you take a look at this for me? And just allow the two parts of your journey to come into play. Because sometimes we feel like we're in like sales and business, and we don't allow that personal connection that most people, 40% of people are yellow, and they would rather look at this for you than they would when you're asking them to look at it for them, right? So I would continue to just ask people to, would you do me a favor? I'm trying to move my life forward and I really feel like this is what I'm called to. I want people in my life to find out about it. Would you, at least just put your eyes on this and let me know what you think about it? And for people that aren't local to you, your friends and family in Alberta and in wherever else, to say to them, listen, I'm considering making a big move in my life. And I really, would appreciate your support. Would you be willing to look at this? Because this could potentially afford us the option to move and to do these kind of things. So
Yeah.
be vulnerable, be real. I love your heart. I love, and that's it. You have to really like pray on it and say, okay, God, is there a purpose that you're calling me back into nursing? Or is this nudge that I'm feeling for us to move? Is this from you? And if it is, would you just light up the next step and show me where to go with it? And just offer that opportunity to other people to support you because that's amazing. And people, I can see your heart coming through, and people will want to support you. And so I pray that it will be what happens for you as well.
Thank you.
Yes, Francine, if you message me, I have a video that I made on like a training on doing in homes I can send to you. So yeah, Tay's just saying, play the overview and get creative with the rest. Don't overthink it. Don't don't put too much pressure or stress on yourself. You can do it for sure. Hmm? She says, I watched the overview yesterday. That was what we did at bedtime. We sat and she was like, I was sending a voice note to someone about the overview, and she's like, what's the overview? I said, oh, it's the 12-minute video. And she's seen clips of it that we watched it before bed. What did you think? What was your highlight from the overview?
Yeah.
Snacks. Yes, but we then had to go to the website and look at all the snacks because she saw pictures of bars in the overview that she had not tried. And so that became a priority, right? Well, today we were just talking about making decisions, right? And when God calls you to do something, you just have to go all in, right? When God called us to move here, now God's called us to move somewhere else, we're going to go all in. So, all right, do you want to pray us out today? Okay. She's excited to be here with us in the mornings and come and close us out. So, all right, we'll let you go ahead.
Lord, thank you for today and this call, and um, we pray that everyone on this call can learn to be decision makers, and um, we thank you for all that you're doing in everyone's life. In your name, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Yes, help us be decision makers. I love it. All right. Have a great day, everybody.
Have a great day, everybody.
We're gonna go finish packing. This is my little packing buddy. So, all right, have a good day, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.